This video is to clarify how I see things progressing. The primary proposal is the creation of an increasingly complex cooperative structure that I have been calling a confederation. It is sort of a business, it is sort of a community, a common unity. It is an entity. To separate out that proposal, that's one proposal that I plan to put forward, advocate for, or in the terms that I like, waggle dance, based on the waggle dance of the honeybee and the judgment aggregation of Christian List. So I'm waggling for this structure. And then I've got a lot of other ideas. And I will waggle for each one of those independently, but there is a separation between my ideas and the ideas that are adopted by the Confederation, because the Confederation is a fractal common unity, using modern tools and ancient wisdom. And it is a method of trying to govern our affairs as a commons. And then the specific things that we might do with this confederation, this economic republic, those things are each also to be debated and vetted and common unanimous consent achieved through what I propose is an oscillating system of consent. And I will in future videos go into more detail about that particular proposal. But the way I see things moving forward is I've identified a need for weavers. And weavers are people who, just like if you've ever seen the start of a chumash or washo basket, treasure basket, you know, it starts with the strands woven together, and the weaver basically takes 10 different strands and weaves them into the starting of a basket, and then as the thing matures, the basket takes form. So the weavers are weaving together 10 people. And the idea behind 10, it is basically the size of a lodge in an indigenous tribe, an extended family, sort of a close unit of people who work closely together and are, you know, deeply interwoven. And then that group of 10 comes to agreement. I think it's the largest number of people that mathematically can come to agreement. 10 people can't pick a movie. It's hard. So with practice, hopefully these 10 people begin to come to consent, and then, like the inspirational structure of the water molecule, there's two covalent bonds. There's 4 pairs of electrons around an oxygen, like a council fire. Those 8 people come into agreement, and then they choose 2 out of the 10 who lose their own voice, but then carry the voice of the group to the next level of 10. And I'm using the terminology power councils. So a first power council is 10 people. And everybody, every idea, everything that the Confederation considers at all, first has to be agreed upon in a group of 10 people. And then their voice is carried to another group of 10 people, but that 10 people is of people who represent 10 people. So if that group can come to consent, that's 100 people coming into consent, essentially, without you know, a Colosseum style debate. This is a way of coming to consent in small groups, and then that voice is carried to a group of a second power council, and it's based on mathematics. A second power council means 2 zeros. So a second power council represents 100 people, a third power council represents 1,000 people, a fourth power council is 10,000 people. Fifth power council is 100,000, sixth power council is 1,000,000 people. And I'm proposing the creation of a 6th level confederation that is a business. It's like a company that we all have a share of responsibility in. We all own it as Commonwealth. We are the creators of it. It is private property owned in commons. It is not socialism. It is not government owned. It is not owned by a non-profit, or it's owned by us. It's our tangible asset that we manage as a commons, and that means that we select people to carry our voice to the different level power councils. And at the 6th power council, that's 10 people who each one is deciding for 100,000 people. Is not deciding, they are carrying the voice. They have no decision. By becoming a covalent bond, they have given up their own individual voice, and they carry the voice. They carry the voice of essentially that original 10 people, but they also begin to carry the voice of more people as they move down in the power structure. So in the videos that I do, I represent ideas, but they are not to be considered in any way agreed upon. They are simply my ideas that I'm presenting and putting forward, but it's hard to divide that out from the core proposal of this site, which is the creation of an increasingly complex confederation, a company owned as Commonwealth, an economic republic, a democratic economic nation, whatever we want to call it. But it is a company of us, where it's not ruled by kings. We need to make economic kings, a thing of the past, the way we have, to a large extent, banished monarchs to the dustbed of history, at least in thriving, economic, sophisticated, modern economic societies. Kings cannot manage complexity. That's the power of decentralization. That's the power of democracy, is it can handle complexity. You put systems, structures in place, and they, if you have a good ethical legal system, then that leads to the tendency that people are not going to be unlawful. And if the laws are chosen and decided by people that we trust and we've selected, without this whole masquerade of television ads and pundits and all the things that are used to deflect, it's all look at the monkey, So this was just an effort to try to, in the last several videos, I've gotten pretty animated about different ideas that I've thought about, and I just want it to be clear that all of those things would be vetted and agreed upon in an oscillating system of unanimous consent, as I propose it. But if there's a better idea out there, you propose it, and then we can consider it in a rational way. We can begin to manage our affairs rationally again, with common sense, as Commonwealth, with common bonds, according to common law. So we have to do this now for our descendants, in my opinion.